Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us today, us being me and you, then thank you for watching. And if you've been here with me before, then welcome back. I'm sorry I missed last week. I know I try to pre-record these, so there's really no excuse. But I was traveling and starting to get involved in a lot of the wedding feel-good activities, and so it's been an amazing thing. But one of the things I've really focused on, not just in this engagement phase, but really just focusing and honing in on my relationship and communication and what that really means. So today I want to talk just a little bit, like a little snapshot about some maybe relationship advice or maybe just some information, and hopefully you can find some takeaways from it. But I feel like we actually all say this, Facebook and social media, like it's just a facade, and like what is that doing to society and these unrealistic expectations, of ourselves, how we look, our fitness, our food, our productivity, as an entrepreneur, our relationships, if we're looking to others for how they do, do we really have those couples in our personal lives that have made an impact that help direct us in our lives, So this isn't about social media whatsoever. I feel like it's a total kiss and a curse because I think it's such a blessing to be able to share, my information, my business, what I'm learning with you, and that's that. I think it's a blessing, but I'm also, as far as my relationship goes, we're pretty intimate people. I'm not necessarily private. I'll talk about anything that's going on, in my life. If I have a lot of really close friends, but just not being so public about it. It's not the business. It's not anyone's business per se. But I did want to hop on here and share some things that I found to be exponentially wonderful in my relationship, and some of them you may have heard about, right? Like the 5 love languages, or if people ask, what's your love language? This is such an important step for you and your partner to both take this quiz. It's a book. And guilty as I may, if we know each other personally, we've probably talked about it. I've probably said, you have to take this quiz. I send the quiz out to everybody. Never once read the book. Sorry, Gary. Anyways, I know that the book itself is wonderful and has some really great content, but what the book is designed to do, and this quiz, is to define your love language. How do you show love? How do you feel love? But it's equally as important to have your partner share the same quiz, right? So that then, without changing, without guessing how they may feel love, you know how to speak their language, right? And then that partner can witness you actively doing something to speak their language, right? So it's another way of just feeling loved and fulfilled and not comparing ourselves to these probably unrealistic ways of how a couple should be, right? It's different for everybody. How much sex are you having? How much sex should you have? That's just like so personal. And there's no wrong answer, right? Unless people are feeling out of sorts and they're not communicating it, right? It's important to get on the same page, but it's more important to connect mentally and be an expert on your partner, okay? So I will actually link the quiz for the love languages below, and I am physical and quality time. It's easy for me to remember. Ronnie's is quality time and physical, so we're just very in tune. But there's, whether that's holding a hand or stroking the hair or just being physically close or making time for the other person, like we can say, we'll kind of say our love language will be like quality time, and that's like notifying that the other person is speaking your love language. You're feeling so loved in that moment, and that there's no that it's worth it, basically. Okay, so I talk about this a lot. I talk about this with people a lot in general. The 5 love languages is such a healer for your personal relationship. Also that of your peers or family around you, right? It's always good to kind of know where they are so that you can help them feel loved, right? You know, like when you really love somebody, you want to do whatever it takes to have them feel whole and secure. Another thing is that I talk to people a lot, and one of the things that I can pride myself on is truly knowing your partner, you know, and with that makes it so that you're not turning something into something that it's not, you know. This happens all the time, and people get really anxious or feeling like they're going to be abandoned, or maybe they're being cheated on, or they need to know the full story. And like in the world where we're all just tied to these electronic leashes of whether like you're tracking the other person or like what, it turns you into a crazy person. So kind of just give yourself this reality check of like, I know my partner, I'm confident in my relationship and who I am and who they are, and you don't need to make issues that aren't really there in the first place. And sometimes we do that and maybe we're bored or whatnot. So anyways, I digress. One of the things I also want to share is because we are still in February, which is still the month of love, and we have Valentine's Day and whatnot, and hopefully yours went the way that you had hoped it would. But in case it didn't, and you're looking to kind of spice things up, regardless of how long you guys have been together, there are incredible essential oils for the bedroom, and that are designed to help heighten, intensify, and excite a relationship. And that's always a fun way to, introduce something new, right, into your routine. And so if you'd like to learn more about that, please let me know. I have some friends who have written some very tasteful articles on their recommendations, and I'd be happy to share those with you, as well as anything that I've found to be particularly enjoyable or fun. So there's that. And then one other thing is that this was advice that was given to me from one of my mentor couples that I met when I was 18 years old, and I'm now 33, so that's 13 years of just admiring this couple personally. And one of the things that was said to me is that there's always a distancer and a pursuer in the relationship. And this is like really interesting because you may not know which one you are right at this very moment, right? This is a role that can change in 5 minutes, in 5 years, in an hour. I mean, there's always somebody that's pursuing the other one a little bit more. And maybe now in a world that we're living in text messages, maybe it's, a good morning text that you get every morning, right, to start your day, or a check-in throughout the day, right? Somebody's reaching out to that other person, and then you reciprocate, right? So it's important for this relationship to, go back and forth of somebody pursuing the other more, but also to notice that. And that there's nothing, I don't mean to say like there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're just like, I'm always pursuing him, like take a step back, right? Maybe don't send the good morning text. See what happens. And I mean this to be constructive because the other person will likely reach out or will want, that connection. So it's a very great thing. And actually, I said that in a way that's kind of like challenging. And, I want you to be stable in your relationship, and I want you to have open communication. But that's a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot these days, and especially as I'm getting married and I ask other people, like, what is your best advice? One of the top things is communication, right? And let me tell you, like, that takes work, okay? That takes work. It's like very similar to, if you keep going to pet the dog from the left side and he bites you, he keeps biting you, you're an idiot. You have to try another way, right? You can't just keep getting bitten. So you have to learn to speak that other person's love language. You have to learn to speak that other person's language in general. But also, know that you're not living on the surface, that you can talk and dive in about any questions, and that's possible, right? So I feel that, I don't know why I'm called to say this, maybe it's for you specifically, but if you have something that is lying on your heart, you don't know how to bring up to your partner, and you'd like to, do it. Open those doors. open those doors of communication, figure it out once you've started, but also be aware that if you keep bringing it up again and again and again and again, right, not only is that annoying and ineffective, but that's probably pushing them away because that communication style isn't working. So do yourself the favor and do the work that it takes to get on the same page, whether that's reading the 5 love languages or the famous book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. That book is genius and applicable to all of us, okay? There's going to be some takeaways to it. Maybe you're not even in a relationship yet. If you love and are interested in the psychology of people or how we are the way that we are, read the book, okay? Book's awesome. So there are tools. There's lots of people out there who are willing to help you with this. Keep your eyes open for who you know personally and who you look up to in a relationship to keep by your side and help you organize your thoughts. But try not to really give yourself this reality check of looking to social media and seeing how perfect and beautiful everyone's life is, or even now knowing, okay, I know that was not that happy of a moment, and here you are showing the world about how blissful and peaceful you are. I mean, it's inauthentic. It can be inauthentic, right? So focus on yourself, dial inward, ask yourself what you're really doing to improve your relationship, and don't feel as though you could just keep doing what you're doing, right? Just like everything else in life, we need to change it up sometimes. And you know what, and before I hop off on here, I was just going to say this, is that, for women, I know that many of us got flowers for Valentine's Day, but if it's mid-March or April or May or another time of year and you are really wishing that, your partner bought you flowers, if you're like, oh, I just wish that they loved me enough to do that, throughout the year. I wish it wasn't a once a year type of thing, or maybe on my birthday. Let me just say, ask for flowers. Bare bones. There's no game playing about it. There's no hurt feelings. You're only hurting yourself. If you really want flowers and you wish that they bought you them, this is the hypothetical. If there's anything, it could be any idea that you're thinking of, but ask for it. Because the likelihood that your partner wants to please you and help you feel loved and appreciated and important and noticed is pretty high. So they will buy you flowers. They'll feel good about it, and it's not going to change how you feel at all. You're going to just be really proud that they listened to you. You feel heard, understood, and you got your flowers, right? So don't play games. Just dive in and be more authentic to who you are, the type of relationship that you want to build, and I hope that you've got something from this. But I'm going to go ahead and link below on my Facebook page the link for the 5 love languages quiz. And once you take that, please let me know what your love language is, just because I'm curious about everybody's. I love it, and I hope that it helps you, and thank you for tuning in. Talk soon.